Hello and good afternoon, everybody. It's DJ. Hi, I'm sorry to tell you, I am losing my voice, but still have a class today, so we'll get this done. Hopefully, not too fast, but I don't want to use my voice too much. But today we have a class on self-advocacy, and specifically when it comes to getting lost, or if you find yourself out in the community and you don't know exactly what to do. So there are some helpful hints to go over as to what to do in those situations so you can advocate for yourself. So, you don't need somebody right there with you. You can just be like, oh, this is what I need to do. So let's go over some of this stuff. So there's some different vocabulary words that we're going to go over. The first one is freedom. And in this case, we mean freedom by the ability to do what you want, which is getting out and being part of the community. Identification, which is proof of who you are. And panic, which is a strong and often sudden feeling of fear. And so all this will be tackled as we go through. And then lost, which just means missing or unable to be found. And I've been in that situation before where I'm like, I'm lost. It's not a fun situation to be in. So here are some ways that we can help remedy that. So getting lost. When you have places to go by yourself, you enjoy freedom and have a good time. But there's also a chance that you might get lost. And there are things you can do to keep yourself safe if you are not sure where you are. So, number one, always make sure you have identification with you. Some sort of identification. The best thing is photo ID, so they can actually know that you're the person that they're dealing with. So it's good to have that. But we also have emergency cards where we'll have also like emergency contacts and things like that if you do get lost. I'm not sure what this is, but if you use it's in quotes, a talker, always make sure you have one with you. Another way, and of course we have these handy dandy things. Sorry, handy dandy. Yes, it's a word I use. But if you have a cell phone, make sure you have it with you. So make sure you have your cell phone on you at all times. And make sure also it's charged. Otherwise, it's not of much use. Next is don't be afraid. If you panic, it will only make things worse. Best thing to do is kind of find a place to sit down, get comfortable, as they call it, get your bearings to kind of figure out where you are, and see if you can find any landmarks or things like that that can really help you. Because sometimes there's like if you're in the city or something like that, there's always BART and things like that. And so a lot of this is if you were alone in this situation. Sorry, my voice. But don't wander. Stay in areas where there are other people. You don't want to get yourself out in the middle of the woods somewhere or a grove, which I've done before, and be like, this is all unfamiliar, and then it just goes on for miles and miles. That can make a situation worse, so stay around people. And of course, look for people who can help you, like a police officer. Look for people doing something. Find a clerk in a store or someone at a desk. Because that way they're an established business and you can be like, hey, I hate to bother you, but I'm lost and I'm wondering if you can help me at all, or if I can at least stay here while I call somebody and let them know that this is where I am. And also show someone you trust your identification and tell them that you are lost. So, like a police officer. If you do see somebody just flag them down and say, hey, it seems like they're like, hey, calm down over there. That's not a bad thing. That's probably a good thing. Then they'll be like, okay, well, this person needs help. So, Story overview. Write a word, so this is for you, or think of a word to predict what you think this overview is about. So getting started. What do you think you should always have with you when you leave the house? So name those things and make sure that maybe even make a list of them that you always have them. So it shows the talker thing. But a watch is good, a phone is good, identification is very good. So and really the word that I would write for this is just safety. Overall safety is what this is and what we're trying to maintain. What should you do if you happen to get lost while you were out? So again, go over some of these things. What should you do? Should you panic? No, that's the first thing we don't want to do. But what should you do? You should find someone, let them know that you're lost. Show them your identification as long as it's someone that is trustworthy. I mean, I don't think showing even a store clerk is the best thing to just pull out your ID. But if it's a police officer or something like that, I think it's a very good idea that you show them, hey, this is who I am. And if you have an emergency card, say, here are some of my emergency contacts again. So remember what freedom is? Freedom is being able to do what you want. Identification is showing who you are. Panic is that feeling of sudden fear that you don't know what's going on. And how did I get myself in this situation? And lost just means you're missing. Okay, so we're going to read over this and choose. What should you do if you get lost while you're out? Should you A, panic, B, do not panic, or C, hide? Okay, well, I just want to make sure don't hide. First and foremost, and do your best to not panic. We'll kind of cut it down. And then don't panic, or keep yourself from panicking. And so, don't panic. Find someone, police officer, who can help. Keep walking to try to find a way to get home. And passenger safety rules help keep you from getting injured or hurt. I'm not sure what that means. So, that last part. But make sure you want to stay in a public area where there's lots of people. So don't panic and find somebody like a police officer who can help. Or again, as we said, a store clerk. Okay, if you get what while you are out, do not wander around. If you get what? It's a 4-letter word that we've been talking about. If you get lost while you're out, do not wander around. And, so the last part here, sorry. It won't let me go down anymore. Oh, so here's a question. Why do you think it's important to carry an identification card? So that people know who you are, people know how to help you. And it might have, or even if you have like a medical alert bracelet, things like that, this is good. Why should you? And just an identification card, it's good to have. It should have your address, and that's one thing. Anytime you get a new ID, make sure you have a piece of mail, something like that, so when we do go to the DMV, which I've done with several people, that we can update your address. Alright. So you decide. If you are lost, should you wander around to areas where there are not a lot of people? Is it a big red, green yes, or a big red no? Well, I'll tell you the answer. It is a big red no. Not where people aren't around. You want to stay, again, where people are around. Because you're less likely to run into a situation with somebody that you don't know and you're all by yourself with a stranger, and you don't know exactly what their intentions are. So, carry ID. don't panic, and find somebody you trust. So, I hope this has been helpful, and I hope that we stay safe anytime we're out in the community. Alright, if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, please let us know. Let the whole group know. Alright, ciao for now.